Madhyoli Charanam, Jayanandalala. So now we talk about the Jagannatha Temple in Puri, which is a very famous temple in Orissa. And it's one of the most famous pilgrimage sites in India. This temple was built in the 12th century, and it was built by a king named Anantavarman Chodaganga Deva. And he's the ruler of the Ganga dynasty. So it was built in the 12th century, and the idols are carved out of wood. And this idol is restored every 12 or 19 years. And it is built in the Kalinga architectural style. And the height of the temple is 65 meters, and it's placed on an elevated platform. Now, this temple, when we go to the roots of this temple, it goes back, way back to the Satya Yugam, the first Yugam. And this is not a made-up story. This is in the Puranas. You will find this temple mentioned in our Puranas, and especially in the Skanda Puranam. It is very, very, it's mentioned in detail. So they've mentioned about this particular king who had a big hand in building this temple. And the king is none other than Indradyumna. Indradyumna is the name. And how it came to be was he was a beautiful, very good ruler, very nice king, noble king. And one desire that he had was he wanted to see Lord Vishnu. He wanted to see him in his beautiful form. And that was his desire. And throughout his life, this has been in his mind. Then he came to know through the Brahmanas in the area that Lord Vishnu is being prayed. He is in the human form. He's being prayed in somewhere on this earth, but he doesn't know where. So he sends all his ministers and priests in various directions to find out where Lord Vishnu is, so that he can go and see him. Now, this is an incarnation of Lord Vishnu. So he sends everybody in all directions, and everybody, all his ministers and the Brahmanas from his palace go in every direction. They come back without any news, any information. Of course, except for one priest named Vidyapati from his palace goes to this area. Of course, the others, all of them go to the areas where they think the temples are there, where the Brahmanas are there, where they feel that the Lord will be residing. But Vidyapati does not stick to only those places. He goes into the inner areas where the tribals are. And this particular region where the Shabari, it's a tribal community. And the chief of the tribe, his name is Vishwavasu. He resides with his big tribal community. And Vidyapati enters this region. And when he arrives at the chief's place, of course, the chief is not there. His daughter is there. She invites him inside. She gives him all respect, saying, knowing that he's from King Indradyumna's palace, she gives him all the respect and makes him sit down and feeds him. And they're waiting for Vishwavasu to get back. When Vishwavasu gets back, there is this beautiful fragrance in the air. It's a lot of sandalwood and camphor, musk, all that beautiful smell that, when you go to the place where you've done a lot of puja is happening, you get that beautiful fragrance, right? And it does something to you. It's like a awakening. It's like a medicine. I would say it's a medicine for our um, mind. It does something. It gives you this happiness. It's like that fragrance just entered when he came in. And it was not like someone put perfume. It's something different. It's an aura. It creates this beautiful aura. And Vidyapati felt that and immediately knew that Vishwavasu knows something. So he didn't leave from there so easily. He stuck around that place, being their friend and a good guest. And he started helping them. And soon, Lalita, Vishwavasu's daughter, fell in love with Vidyapati. Now, Vidyapati is already married. He's got a family back home, but he's here to find out the truth. So he was literally in it. So every day Vishwavasu used to go somewhere, disappear. The chief of the tribe used to go somewhere and disappear. And he would come back late afternoon. And then after he got married to, Vidyapati got married to Lalita, the daughter, he asked Lalita, where is your father going every day? Well, Lalita knows, but she didn't tell him anything. She didn't disclose anything to him yet. She said, no, I cannot share it. But then later he put the husband card, He said, I'm your husband. After all, you can tell me everything. So then Lalita had to give in and she said, yeah, he's going to do puja for the avataram of Lord Vishnu. He's called Neela Madhava. So Vishwavasu, Vidyapati was very happy and, excited that there you go, he found it. Now it's a matter of time that he will soon see Lord Vishnu. So he waited for Vishwavasu to get back that day. And he soon he approached him and asked him, I heard from Lalita that you go and you do puja for Lord Vishnu, avataram. Vishwavasu was shocked. He didn't know what to say. Obviously, it's all in the open now, so he couldn't lie. He said, yes, I do. But on one condition, I can take you there, but I can't show you where it is and everything. I have to blindfold you. So Vidyapati says, okay, tomorrow morning, you can blindfold me. I will come with you. So as promised, Vishwavasu, blindfolded him. And but Vidyapati is very smart. What did Vidyapati do? He had this methi seeds in his hands. He started dropping methi seeds all through the path so that he can find his way back later. So that being said, Vishwavasu took him to the forest inside. They were like going long way into the forest, and then slowly Vishwavasu took the blindfold off of Vidyapati, and there you go. He saw this beautiful. The Lord is in the image of the Lord is a blue sapphire stone, and that is how he was, like a blue sapphire stone, and he was that was being worshipped. And shining, so shiny that the eyes would go blind if you keep seeing him. That's how beautiful he was. And Vidyapati just sat there looking at this beautiful Lord, and he couldn't take his eyes off him. And he just sat there and kept gazing at him when Vishwavasu said, I'm going to go collect flowers and come, you sit here. So Vishwavasu was gone. By that time, Vidyapati still kept sitting there like he was in a trance. All that mind, what he had in his mind, he has to go back and tell the king. He has to, that excitement, that sense of duty, all that vanished. He didn't remember all that. He was in this cocoon, like blissful state where it was just him and the Lord. The king was not there. His duties were not there. Just him and the Lord. And that was enough. It was so much peace he had and felt. And suddenly he saw this tree on the riverside. And on top of the tree, there was a crow sitting there. In front of his eyes, the crow just dropped and fell into the pond in the river. And suddenly he saw a flash of light, and this crow, like an angel, it started flying towards Vaikuntha. So right in front of his eyes, he saw a living thing getting moksham. Who? Vidyapati. Now, that sight was enough for him to think, okay, let me also go and plunge into that river and go to the Lord. So he got up. He got up with that thing in his mind. And immediately there was a voice. Neela Madhava said, stop right there. Not yet. You've seen me now. Now it's your duty to go and tell your king. Remember your duty? He said. Well, Vidyapati forgot, right? Forgot because he was in this trance. He saw this Lord and he came into this trance. So he forgot that he had to go back to the king. The king was 24/7 thinking about this Lord, Vishnu, in this avataram, wanting to see him. And it was obvious Vidyapati was the instrument to give him that news. How can he just leave? No. So the Lord said, not yet. Go back, finish your duty. Go tell your king that you saw me and give him this news. So then he said, yes, I will. And again, Vishwavasu came back and he finished his puja and then blindfolded Vidyapati and took him back home. After he got back home, he said he has to go back to the palace, and he left the palace to tell the king everything. Now the king was so excited to hear the news. He was like, take me right now. I need to go. So Vidyapati said, see, the thing is I was blindfolded the whole way, but then I have dropped methi seeds everywhere. So they would have all sprouted and now, we'll have those plants to show us the way. So the king said, that's a good thing you did, we'll go. Meanwhile, here, Vishwavasu comes the next day to do his puja to the Lord, and the Lord tells him, my dear friend, now it's time I have to leave. I have to leave from here. All your seva I have taken with full-heartedness, and I'm so content. And I want to tell you how happy I am. Don't ever think that I'm leaving because there is something that you did not do or you left something incomplete. don't have all those thoughts. I am very content. But now it's time. I have to leave. But I will come back and I will call for you, and you will do and continue your seva for me. That's what the Lord tells Vishwavasu. Vishwavasu was very sad that the Lord said he's leaving. But then it gave him a lot of hopes that he said he's going to come back and he's going to call for him. And that gave him the strength to let the Lord go. Though he was not very fully in there, you know. Obviously, when the Lord says he's going to leave, who is going to be happy? Who's going to be happy? We have in Nandalala, we have our padams going to each other's houses. Every time the padam leaves, I know many devotees are so upset and they cry, they shed a tear. It's not like the Lord can ever leave. He's always with us. But then, yes, our attachment is for that padam, for that physical form. No? We can see it. So, same thing with Vishwavasu. He was upset. The Lord said he's going to leave. So he was a little upset. Now here back to the king. Vidyapati and the king are here. They come to that point where the methi seeds were, tossed, and they find the sprouts and they follow the whole way. They follow the methi sprouts and they go to this. They reach the spot. And Vidyapati says, yes, this is the one. This is where it was. The lake is over there, the river's there, and the tree. I saw the crow there and everything. He's like so excited. He says, this is the place. But where is the Lord? The Lord is missing. Obviously, the Lord knows this is going to happen. So he left. He told Vishwavasu and left. So yes, the Lord was not there. Now, Indradyumna, the king Indradyumna, was not happy. He said, either you're making a fool of me, or whatever you've narrated was just a drama. I don't believe anything now. I'm just so upset. Where is Vishwavasu? Maybe he took the Lord somewhere and hid him. Now they go in search of the tribal king. And they find him. And the tribal king says that the Lord said he's going to leave. But no, king did not believe him. He said, you've kept him somewhere. I need to see it. And he puts Vishwavasu behind the bars. Obviously, the Lord is there. He's going to know. He's immediately going to come to help. So Indradyumna is very confused. He goes to the palace and he's in his chambers, falls asleep. And the Lord comes in his dream. The Lord comes in his dream and he tells him, why do you worry? I'm here only. Vishwavasu has nothing to do with this. Release him. I left because it was time for me to leave. I was waiting for you. I was the one who told Vidyapati to come and tell you. Now for me to come back, I need you to build a temple for me. You need to build a temple so that I can come back, he says. So the king was so happy and he had no words. He had tears in his eyes. For all that he never knew that the Lord has so many plans for him. And he said, you release him and you build a temple on top of the Neela hill for me. And you will get all the help you need for it. He said, I will send the Narada Muni to help you. And I will send Vishwaksena to help you. And I will send Vishwakarma to help you. So all these people will come and help you. Now, he also said, donate thousands of cows before you start this work. See how auspicious it is to donate cows. It's the most, when in our Puranas, donating a cow to somebody is very, very, very auspicious. And even now, people do it. It's the most purest form of charity. It's like giving them everything. When you give them a cow, especially in the village, a lot of people go and donate cows to the poor, a village household. It's like their household is made. They get their milk, their butter, their everything. The cow is the mother. So you've actually provided a lot for them when you donate a cow. So here the Lord says, see what it takes to build a temple. Thousands of cows. So the king donates thousands of cows as per instructions. And then, of course, Sage Narada he comes as the Lord said, I will send Sage Narada to help you. He comes and he says, how can I be of help? Here you're going to build Lord Jagannath's temple. I'm here to help. So all the preparations start, and Lord Brahma is the one who installs the flag on top of the temple. Lord Brahma also comes to help, and Sage Narada is the one who installs the Narasimha. Lord Narasimha is there in this temple. He's the one who installs the Lord Narasimha in this temple. And Vishwaksena is the one who built the sanctum around the Lord in the temple. And now the only thing that remained is the idols, the main idols of Lord Jagannath, which every time they started making, either the chisel will break or the sculptor, whoever is doing this sculpture, will have a problem and it'll never get done. So the Lord Jagannatha was the one who was not happening. So again, the king was like, what do I do? How do I get this going? And he again prays to the Lord, and there you go. He comes in his dream and he says, don't worry. You go to the seashore, you will find there is a big wood piece that will be floating on the sea with all the chakram and the gada. These will be imprinted on it. You take that and you make the idols, he says. Now, he does not tell him anything else. He just says, this log of wood will be floating with all these imprints on it. Take it and make my idols, he says. The king says, okay. And immediately the next day, they all go with elephants and all the manpowers, to the seashore. And then, yes, they see the log of wood. And all these elephants are, so many elephants. And they all try to take this wood out of the sea, but they just couldn't move that log of wood. They couldn't move it. They're wondering what happened. The Lord said, yes, we can start making his sculpture with this, but I'm not even able to lift it. With all these men, with all these forces in the army, I'm not able to lift this log of wood. Again, he comes back to his palace. He's so dejected. Now the Lord says, why are you worried? You just have to go and call Vishwavasu. Do you remember Vishwavasu? He says. Now who's Vishwavasu? The tribal chief. The tribal chief who the Lord promised that he will call him back. He will call him to do seva for him, right? So he made King Indradyumna call him back. So he said, call Vishwavasu. When he comes, and then he will help you lift the log and get to the temple. So as the Lord said, he went and called, he asked for Vishwavasu, and Vishwavasu came the next day. And the log just lifted in with no effort. Just that one person mattered. Now you must be thinking, why did the Lord not tell him all this in the beginning itself? Why did the Lord make the king come with the whole army, his elephants, and then was not able to lift the log and then go back dejected? Why all this? Why couldn't he just tell him to call Vishwavasu in the beginning itself? You must be thinking. But yeah, there is a catch to it. The Lord wanted the king to think about this. The Lord wanted him to understand the value of Vishwavasu. He wanted him to know how important Vishwavasu is in this journey. How important Vishwavasu is with this temple. So he's also going to be a big part of this temple. The Lord wanted him to know that. And that is why he created that little Leela, so that the king Indradyumna understands that Vishwavasu is not just an ordinary person. He's a very important being in this temple. So now the log is there. It's come to the temple. Now we have to find a sculptor to chisel it. Now they call all the sculptors and sculptors to chisel the log of wood, but nobody is able to chisel this log of wood. Nobody is able to do it. Their equipment or their tools are all breaking. And then they go back to get another tool. It's not working. Now that job is stopped right there. Then one fine day, this old man comes to the palace and he says, I'm here, I'm a sculptor. I heard that the king was looking for a sculptor. So the soldiers know how desperate the king is. So they run inside and tell the king, they inform him that there's an old man. He says he knows too. He's here to sculpt the Lord. So the king runs down and he greets him. He says, you're here to make my Lord? And he says, yes. And there was this, it would look like a ray of sunshine. There was something about it. This old man was no ordinary person. He was the Lord himself. After all, only the Lord could chisel himself. Only the Lord could make that sculpture. So he himself came down to do it. So this old man, he's a Brahmin, he tells the king, I can do these sculptures for you, but I have a condition. The condition is that I want total privacy. You cannot just come inside and inspect, and I don't like talking. I don't like somebody coming inside and asking me a lot of questions. So I want you to leave me alone in a room along with the log of wood. I have my tools. I don't want anyone entering for 21 days, he says. 21 days, I want no one disturbing me. You will hear all sorts of noises inside, but don't worry. Don't get inquisitive. Don't enter the room, he says. So the king says, everything is okay with me. I'm fine with everything. Swami, you continue your work. So they give him this room, private chamber, and the log of wood, and then they can hear the noise, the chiseling noise and everything. And sometimes they hear music, sometimes it feels like there is some band and all this musicians singing and all that. But the king is very inquisitive, but he remembers his promise, right? So he doesn't want to go in. It's like some big parties happening inside sometimes. And and then he smells this beautiful fragrance sometimes of that parijadam and all that. And he's so happy. Like, it's so nice. I feel like going inside. He'll go near the door, but then he'll remember, no, 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 I won't. And he'll come back. But then after 14 days, the king did not hear anything. He would walk past that door, total dead silence. It's like no noise. So the king is like, one day and another day, he's like, no, 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 this is not good. I think the old man ran away. He cheated me. So that inquisitiveness just killed him, He was so inquisitive to open the door and check on the old man, whether he ran away. So he opens the door. And of course, the sculptor was not there to be nowhere to be seen. But then he sees these three forms: Lord Jagannath, Subhadra, and Balarama. The sculpture of them, but their fingers were missing, their toes were missing. It's all unfinished. It's not complete. It seemed like it is unfinished. He couldn't believe that he came inside halfway. Now he knows the sculptor is not going to continue this job because he broke his word. And he felt terrible. The sculptures are not finished. So he just sat there sobbing. King Indradyumna just sat there sobbing. He just couldn't forgive himself. So he fasted. He's like, I'm not going to eat. I'm not going to eat or drink anything till the Lord comes and tells me what is going on. I made a sin. I did a sin. I should not have gone inside. I did not keep my promise. And he felt miserable. He fasted and stopped eating anything. The Lord is so kind. He comes in his dream, as always, and he says, don't worry. That old man was me only, he says. That old man is me. I only played this trick on you. I made it look like there was so much activity inside, and then suddenly silence gave you that inquisitiveness to enter, to check what's going on. All that was done by me. I'm the cause, I'm the effect, I'm the end result. So whatever you did was all in the plan. So don't worry, he says. Now here in this form, I want to tell you, it looks unfinished for you, but it's totally finished, he says. It is the complete version of me. In this form, I have no material hands or feet. But with my senses, I accept all the items offered to me by my beloved devotees, he says. The fact that you broke your promise is just my Leela. So my main reason to manifest in this form, this is the main reason. So that when you break your promise and you come in, it's unfinished. And I wanted to be in this form, he says, don't worry. Now, the king was so relieved. He said, thank you, my Lord. I'm so relieved now after you told me this. Now, the Lord is talking. The Lord says, the descendants of Vishwavasu will always serve me in this temple, he says. Look at that. They will be the ones who plan the chariot and the building, the construction, everything will be done by them. And then he says, the descendants of Vidyapati from his Brahmin wife, the first wife, will perform and do all the worship inside the temple. The puja, the rituals will all be done by their family, descendants. The descendants of Vidyapati from the Shabari wife, the tribal wife, will cook for me, he says. They'll be in the kitchen. So even today, the same descendants are the ones doing for the Lord Jagannatha in the temple. Because after all, the Lord himself picked those people. Right? Now the king at that time requested the Lord that he will not have any descendants, because after that they will claim this temple as their own, right? So he says, Lord, I don't want to have anybody after me. Look at that. He says, I don't want to have anybody after me, because after that, what if they claim this temple? This temple is you. You're the Raja. You're the king. So from my side, I don't want that problem. So he says, I don't want any descendants, because the Lord was talking about descendants, right? So he says, I don't want any descendants. Let it end from here. So the Lord says, okay. Now in the Skanda Purana, this Utkala Khanda is another name for Orissa. Utkala, the most holy place on this planet. That's what it means. And Utkala is divided into 4 parts, which represent the weapons of Lord Vishnu. 4 kshetrams. And that is known as the Shanga Kshetram, which is the Puri, this Jagannath Temple. And the Padma Kshetram, which is the Konark. And the Chakra Kshetram, which is Bhubaneswar. And Gada Kshetram, which is Jajapura. So all this Kshetram is based on the Lord's 4 weapons of Lord Vishnu. Now Puri is the Shanga Kshetram. The Lord himself resides here on the shore of the ocean atop the Blue Mountain, Neela Mountain. Now Puri Dama is also called Purushottama Kshetram, Sri Kshetram, Neelachala Dama, Jagannatha Dama, Neelagiri, Shanga Kshetram, Dasavatara Kshetram, and Narasimha Kshetram. The Narasimha, Lord Narasimha is very powerful in this temple. It was installed by Sage Narada. So it's very powerful in this temple. Now, does anybody know, I'm sure you all know, Gajendra, the elephant Gajendra, right? We all have heard Gajendra Moksham. It's very, very popular. It's like the picture of the elephant handing the lotus in the air. He's putting up a lotus in the air, and Lord Vishnu coming down, seated in that beautiful Garudan. He's coming down to rescue this elephant Gajendra from the crocodile that has gotten hold of his feet. This picture, I know all of us have seen. This is a very, very famous picture. But very few of us know what is the story behind it. Now, who is this Gajendra elephant? Gajendra is none other than Indradyumna, the king Indradyumna. Later became Gajendra. Now, why? Let's see that story. Because we're talking about the king Indradyumna, I wanted to share this small thing with you regarding King Indradyumna's next life, that is as Gajendra elephant. Now, Indradyumna was in his court one time when sage Agastya visited his palace. Now, he did not pay much respect to him. He was very busy doing something that he just forgot to pay respect to the sage Agastya. Who is Agastya? Agastya is the biggest siddhar. Not only that, he's the one who brought Kaveri. He's the one who installed a lot of lingams in so many temples in South India. Oh, he's not an ordinary sage. So the king just ignored Sage Agastya. It's not a small thing. So Sage Agastya, of course, got very angry. That arrogance, he wanted to teach a lesson. He got very angry. Ahankaram. That is bad thing. No, whatever you might achieve, you might be really big, you might be a big achiever, whatever you've achieved, that ahankaram, arrogance, it can only defeat you in your path. That is enough to defeat you. Now, Agastya, of course, raised his hand and cursed him. He cursed him to be born as an elephant and to learn his lesson the hard way, how to surrender to the Lord. Now, that is very important. When you surrender to the Lord, right, automatically arrogance is gone. Because whatever you achieve is because the Lord gave you that opportunity. He gave it to you. It was not you, or it was not, you didn't achieve it. He gave it to you. And of course, in this whole story, we got to know that Indradyumna was given. Whatever he achieved was given to him. Every part of his journey, the Lord came in his dream and gave him every instruction, guidance, everything to build a temple, be it for everything, right? Step by step, everything was given by the Lord. And he is with arrogance, ignoring the biggest sage. See what? Even Indradyumna can stumble. Who are we? Right? Our scriptures are there for a reason, to tell us that, hey, we can also stumble and to be cautious. Now, the curse was that he will be born as an elephant and he will learn how to surrender to the Lord the hard way. Now, in this picture, there's a crocodile also, right? Now we have to know how the crocodile came there. The crocodile in its previous birth was a Gandharva king. Now, this Gandharva king was taking a bath in the river, and there was a sage also there. Sage Devala was also there taking a bath, and he was offering his prayers to the sun god, to Surya. And this king mocked him. This Gandharva king mocked him. And the sage gets very angry and he says, you will be born as a crocodile. Oh my God, what a curse. Now he falls at the sage's feet and seeks for forgiveness. He says, please forgive me. Please forgive me. I did wrong. Please, I don't want to be a crocodile. I mean, I can understand his pain. Who would want to be a crocodile? But, well, a curse is a curse. Given, you cannot take it back. So the sage can only make it better. He says, well, you will be liberated from this when the Lord himself comes and gives you moksha. And it will happen. So he says, okay. So at least he got relief, that it was, there was a relief there. There was a solution there. Now the next scene, how Gajendra is living in this beautiful Ritumata garden. And this garden is actually created by Varuna, Lord Varuna. Now, Gajendra rules over many elephants. He's a king over there also. He's a king of elephants. So he's ruling over all these elephants, a herd of not a lot of elephants in this garden. And this garden is so beautiful. It's filled with flowers, birds, butterflies, and a lake, mountains. It's beautiful. And every day this Gajendra goes to the lake and has, a good, nice bath, plays around the water. And this is his life every day. Until one day, same way he goes to the lake and he's taking a bath, suddenly his leg is caught. And when he looks in the back, he sees a crocodile. His jaws have like tightly caught his leg and he's not letting it go. That's the crocodile, the Gandharva king. Now Gajendra pleads with him, let go. What are you doing? The crocodile says, no, you're my meal today. That's it. Once caught, I don't leave. So he fights. He screams for help. All his family, friends, they all come. All the elephants come, try their level best, but they could not fight this crocodile because his tail was so powerful. He just flings it here and there, and none of them could come near the crocodile. And he had just locked his teeth deep in his feet that there was no way the elephant can get out. Now it was a very, very long, it was a very tiresome moment for the elephant Gajendra because, he's also getting, how long will he fight? His family also, they fought for a long time and they said, I'm sorry, we are leaving now. We can't do anything. And they leave. Now this Gajendra is left alone. You won't believe this goes on for thousands of years. It tells you something, thousands of years. Now, that's when Gajendra loses all his energy, all his powers. And he thinks of the Lord. He takes this lotus from that lake and he puts it high up in the air. And he calls, Narayana, please help me. The Lord leaves everything behind. My devotee is calling out. And seated on that beautiful Garudan, he comes and slays the crocodile's neck, frees Gajendra. That is a big lesson for all of us here, Gajendra moksham. Gajendra immediately gets moksham. But who gets moksham first? The crocodile. The crocodile gets moksham first. You may see him as a villain, but no, he gets the moksham first because the Lord slays his head first. He was liberated first. But see how long it took for Gajendra to surrender? He could have done that first itself, right? Instead of fighting the crocodile for 1,000 years, he could have done that in the first go, the first day. He could have taken the lotus, offered it to the Lord, called him, the Lord would have come. That is how man is. We all take this long to surrender. We all take this long. Some surrender, some don't. The sooner we surrender, the sooner the Lord appears. The story just depicts that simple thing. Surrender. Leave everything to him. He will be there. You leave everything and come for you. So he attained moksham, and that was Indradyumna in his previous birth, who was Gajendra. Now, when you see this picture, you'll know the story. This beautiful story behind it. Now we go back to this temple and get to know about a few aspects of this temple. Now we'll see a flag on top of this Jagannatha temple, you know. The flag on top, it flows in, it always flies. You know, the flag has this, the flapping around, you know, it keeps flapping here and there. It always flows in the opposite direction of the wind. Think about it. It's like the science cannot explain that factor. Now there is a person who always climbs on top of this temple, and it is like a 45-story building. It is equivalent to a 45-story building. Every day he climbs to change the flag on top. This ritual dates back to the very day it was built. Now it is done with bare hands. He doesn't have any shield or protective gear, or he doesn't have any special tools. He just climbs it with bare hands, and he has never slipped. So that's another amazing thing that goes on in this temple every day. And another one thing to note about this temple is no shadow falls on the temple ground at any time of the day. The shadow of this temple never falls on the ground. Now there's a Sudarshanam chakra on top of the temple, the Gopuram on top, and it weighs a ton. Now, how did it get there without any machinery or any equipment? How did it get there? With amazing factors. Now, second, from whatever direction you see this chakram on top, it'll be like as if it facing you. So wherever you stand, it'll be as if the chakram is facing you. That's another beautiful factor of this temple. And nothing is above God. And that factor is very much stated in this temple because no bird flies above the temple dome. No bird will fly on top. And the reasons we don't know till today. I think we do in a way, right? There is nothing above God. And the prasadam in this temple never gets wasted. It's always correct, sufficient. So that also another feature that nobody can explain. And now this temple is on the seashore. So obviously the sea is very noisy. When you're near the seashore, you can hear the waves. But as soon as you step into the temple, it's as if somebody muted the sound of waves. That is an incredible thing about this temple. The minute you enter the temple, you do not hear the waves. It's incredible. Now, about the Ratha Yathra. That is something which is really amazing because the Ratha Yatram goes, it starts in the time of the Purnima. It's called the Snana Purnima. And on the day of the Jeshta Purnima, Lord and the Devi, Subhadra and Lord Balarama are all put in a Ratna Simhasana and taken early in the morning. And these idols are escorted in a procession. And this procession is witnessed by thousands of devotees. They come to witness this, and they are brought to the Snana Bedi, bathing altar. And lot of music, gantas, money, chanting, drums, so much of celebration goes around. And the water used for bathing them is from the well present. It's taken out of a well. It's present in the temple. And 108 pots of water with all herbal medicine in it is it's very aromatic, and that is what is poured on the idols. And after completion of the bathing ceremony, they are dressed up in the sada besha, is what is called sada besha, normal vesham. And later in the afternoon, the idols are dressed up in the hati besha, like elephants, and that is signifying our beloved Lord Ganesha. So they're all dressed in the hati besha, and they're all fed good food. Naivedyam is served for all the devotees. It's like a celebration. Now, after this hati besha, they retire. The three of them are taken inside that night. They're taken to the Annasar house. There, it's actually believed that in Narada Purana, it is stated that the Lord is not doing well and he wants to take rest. So that is the time. It's like for 15 days, the Lord is wanting to rest. Now, no devotees can see the Lord, three of them at that time. Subhadra or Balarama or Lord Krishna. Nobody can see all of them. So, and the Ratha Yatra begins after the 15 days. So this is the procedure, how they do this. Now during this time, the deities are offered only fruits, water mixed with cheese. So the fruits and cheese and water, this is all is given. And then Dasamula medicines are all given to the Lord by the temple physician. So this is a separate chamber in which these three are kept and they're served and taken full care of. Now, during this time, what happens is they repaint the sculpture because 108 pots of water are poured in the sculpture, right? So paints sometimes fade, chip off. So all that adjustments are done during this time. The special people come to paint it in the chambers, and then it takes that long for it to dry, the paint to dry. So at that time, the Lord is also taken very good care of. So this is what happens during those 15 days. Now, that is incredible. And of course, the Ratha Yatra, everybody knows about how it is. Now, another factor about this temple is the law. They say that it is the goddess Mahalakshmi herself cooks the Mahaprasadam here. Now, there is 7 pots that are kept on top of each other on the fire while cooking the Naivedyam. 7 pots, mud pots. If you see the pictures on YouTube, it's available. 7 pots are kept on top of each other. And usually the fire is in the bottom. Which pot will cook first? Scientifically, the pot on the bottom, which has the fire directly on it, will cook first. Correct? No. The topmost pot is the one that cooks first. Again, science cannot explain that. Now, when the Mahaprasadam is taken to the sanctum to offer the Lord, no one smells anything. Like the food will be taken from the kitchen to the sanctum to offer to the Lord. Nobody can get any smell. But when it is coming back from the sanctum after the Lord has had it, that fragrance goes miles. Think about it. Even that is incredible. The food, the same food, right? Goes to the sanctum. When it comes back, you get the smell. But when it's going to him, it's like as if it says that the smell also is for the Lord to take first. It's not for us. Now, they say that the chariot, I think I mentioned this in the previous session, the chariot moves only when the Lord wants it to move. Not when everybody can pull, thousands and thousands and thousands of them can pull, but the chariot will move only when the Lord wants it to move. So there was apparently a Muslim poet named Shala Bega. As a big devotee of Lord Jagannatha, he has given his life for him. He has written poetry in the name of for the Lord, and a lot of songs he has written for Lord Jagannatha. And once for the Ratha Yatram, he always makes it a point to come for the Ratha Yatra. But one time he couldn't. He was detained at home for some reason, but his desires, his mind was all in the Yatra. He wanted to be there. And it's so powerful that the Lord obviously knows this. And the chariot, I believe, was passing by his house and stopped abruptly beside his house and was not moving. And everybody came and told the spot that Lord Jagannatha's chariot is outside the house. Go get your blessing. And he ran and went and got his blessings of the Lord. And that's when it started moving after that. So all this is incredible. It just shows how the Lord loves his devotees. It's like everywhere we have read this, he becomes our devotee. He becomes our devotee. Where, that is another dimension. It's only if you experience, you'll know. And you call him, he comes. All that is bliss. After all, we're talking about the ruler of the world who has every power, everything. And he comes when you call. It's, I don't know how to even put it. So even today, this chariot makes a brief stop at his burial place. Now this poet, same Muslim poet that I was talking about, Shala Bega, where he was buried, this chariot stops briefly, even today. And then they start over. That's, the Lord is incredible. The Lord is amazing. On this note, I'm going to sing a little song, one song. And it just tells you his beauty, his beautiful self. Bhavayami Gopala balam manasevitam tatpadam chintayeyam sada. Bhavayami Gopala balam manasevitam tatpadam chintayeyam sada bhavayami gopala balam manasevitam tatpadam chintayeyam sada bhavayami gopala balam manasevitam tatpadam chintayeyam sada. कटि कटित में कला कचित मणिकंटिका कटि कटित में कला कचित मणिकंटिका पटल निनदेना विभ्राजमानम् कटि कटित में कला कचित मणिकंटिका पटल निनदेना विभ्राजमानम् कुटिल पद कटित संकुल चिंचितेयतं कुटिल पद कटित संकुल चिंचितेयतं चतुल नटना समुज्ज्वल विलासम् चतुल नटना समुज्ज्वल विलासम् भावयामि गोपाल बालं मनसेवितं तत्पदं चिन्तयेयं सदा निरतकरकलित नवनीतम् निरतकरकलित नवनीतम् निरतकरकलित नवनीतम् ब्रह्मादि सुरनिकर भावना शोभितपदम् निरतकरकलित नवनीतम् ब्रह्मादि सुरनिकर भावना शोभितपदम् तिरुवेङ्कटाचलस्थितम् तिरुवेङ्कटाचलस्थितम् अनुपमं हरिं तिरुवेङ्कटाचलस्थितम् अनुपमं हरिं परमपुरुषं गोपाल बालम् परमपुरुषं गोपाल बालम् भावयामि गोपाल बालं मनसेवितं तत्पदं चिन्तयेयं सदा. It's a beautiful song. The meaning is as beautiful as the song. It's literally saying that I prostrate to young Krishna, Lord Krishna, Gopala, the young Lord Gopala, whose feet I will always think, and I am always there at your feet. Please purify me, is what the first line is saying. Kati Kati Tame Kala is talking about his Uddiyana, that chain he wears around his waist, that little boy. And he walks with that. He's like swaying and walking because he's just started walking. And that noise he makes, kati kati tamekala, is that noise that chain makes. And that is enough for me. That is also purifying me. And though he plays hide and seek with me, that sound tells me where he is what it says. And again, that is there to purify me. And then the next line says, the crooked thoughts that are in my mind, it is all like I again surrender to his feet. And that is also purified. And then the next line, Nirattakala Kalita Navanitam. In his little hands, he holds the butter. Doesn't he love butter? He holds the butter. And all the devas, Brahma and all the devas are just looking and enjoying the sight of this Lord in his most beautiful form. The most lovable form is Lord Krishna in his childhood times, is the most adorable form. So all the devas are all just looking at this beautiful shining Lord. And those hands and those feet are here to purify me, is what the song says. And the Lord in Tiru Venkatachalam, the Venkatachalam Lord in Tirupati, is the same incomparable Lord, the same Lord, the same baby, same Lord is standing in that place also. Again, his feet are there to purify me. This is the beautiful song. I hope you enjoyed it. Madhyoli Charanam Jainandalal.